Karamo's with us. And Kristina, your shot went down
Yeah,
for a second, so we lost you. We're glad you're back. Um,
yeah.
you testified today that you witnessed ballots marked straight ticket Democrat Republicans, and you were told that they were to be counted, even if it was Republican, as Democrats. You challenged it. Then you lost the challenge. I mean, these were Republican votes that you
Well,
saw?
what happened was is at the adjudication table, a ballot came up, and it was straight party. The person had voted for straight party Democrat and straight party Republican. And the important part is they were filled in circles. So that's an intentional mark. So, like at the adjudication table, if there's some kind of inconsistency, say the person voted for more than they were supposed to for that particular race, or they didn't make it clear or was a mark, that's where they try to figure it out. Well, with the filled in circle, that's an intentional mark. The person didn't make any other votes for, say, judges, proposals, nothing else. And the poll worker just was like, I'm going to give it to the Democrats. And so I'm like, no, that ballot should be tossed out. And this person had previously given a vote to Joe Biden, where a voter had voted for Joe Biden and the Green Party candidate for president, and she had given it to Joe Biden. So that's what alerted and heightened my attention. And so then after that, I went to go get her supervisor, and her supervisor defers to her and asked the girl, well, what do you think? And I'm like, I'm discussing, like, what does she think? It doesn't matter. The ballot to be tossed out. And so I go get the guy who was overseeing the 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. absentee counting process. And he does the exact same thing and asked the girl, what does she think? And so I just simply asked the question. I said, well, why not give it to the Republican over the Democrat? And he begins to scream at me and tells her to push it through. Me and him have this big argument, and I'm like, no, I want to challenge this battle. He's like, you can do what you want. He was extremely nasty, extremely rude, and he just committed open fraud in my face and told her to push the ballot through, which she gave an illegal vote to Joe Biden. And people try to say, well, this is just one incident. No, it's a bunch of incidences. And why do our stories match? We had no way of coordinating these mass stories that all add up. But the Democrats had plenty of time to coordinate their stories. So it doesn't make sense that all of our stories are telling the same type of situations where we witness massive fraud, fake birthdays being given to people and these hand keying in voters. I mean, why are these voters not on the voter rolls? It just doesn't make sense. Ballots being dropped off in the middle of the night, thousands of them. I mean, it was awful.
You're telling your story. You signed an affidavit also, like Ethan and Jesse, under the threat of perjury, right? You know that's a legal document.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Why was this important to you, Kristina? Because
You know, the,
I would assume this is kind of not your average day to be a public figure.
yeah, the thing about it, Sean, is yes, I'm a Republican, but this is beyond Republicans and Democrats. This is about our republic being protected. If we don't have confidence in our elections, we don't have a nation. We give our consent to be governed by those in office, not in power, but in office, to make decisions on our behalf. But if we don't pick the people that are making the decisions on our behalf, then we have a rogue government doing whatever they want to do. That's completely unacceptable. And the way the media won't even take the time to investigate our claims, they just roundly dismissed us. Just roundly dismissed us. I mean, what kind of journalism that's not even talk to us, not to see what we said? I mean, it's disgusting that a lot of our officials don't want to hear us. We are the citizens. They worked for us. Our tax dollars pay them. We tell them what we want, and they are to listen to us. And when you have hundreds and hundreds of people telling you we witnessed fraud, to not even bother to want to hear us, and this is, I mean, we're talking almost a month ago. This should have been talked about as soon as we started complaining, because many of us started filing our affidavits right away. So I'm just really upset about this whole situation.
I want to thank you all for telling your story.